that did not stop Christians from imagining how.
Okay, this right here is called the mystery of Jesus. This is on CNN right now. So, anyway, but this is what they would call Christmas Eve over here in the West, where they show the mystery of Jesus. And I wanted to make it clear to all I people, I brethren, those who see I vids, all Rastafari, and all bless Rastafari, bless all those who are Rastafari, and all the other mansions of our Father's house, all the other brothers and sisters who are exposing, many of the lies about His Imperial Majesty and
as far as I can tell historically,
Jesus Christus.
like Max von Sydow version, or even Jeffrey Hunter, who we get from
the
movie.
But
would have looked very much like what we know by the term hippies.
And so anyway, you heard them say for themselves that their personal look of Jesus Christos or Yehoshua HaMashiach, they want to present it as a hippie. He would have been a hippie. He looked like a hippie. But really, he was a black man. So if he would have been a black man, he would have looked like what? A Rastafari, right? He would have looked like a Nazarene, a true Nazarene with dreadlocks, correct? But if you put him if you whitewash the image, not being racist towards anybody or anything like that, but if you whitewash the image, you would get what they would call a hippie. But the most interesting thing to understand is that if you look at the time period that we're currently in right now, is that, well, it's that you have people who have more technology and they're more able to learn and to understand these things. It's just like I is not talking down on someone else's religion, but I'm tolerating it. But at the same time, it's gotten it's jumping way overboard. It's like jumping out of hand now. With the whole Santa Claus thing and the whole reindeer. It's a shame. The thing is, to me, the thing that messes me up the most, because I'm not sitting here trying to criticize people for wearing certain hairstyles a certain way, or because they want to blonde their hair and all. I'm not trying to criticize my own people about certain things like that. But the truth be told is that it's the fact that immorality and doing wrong has become regular. And it's almost like you telling me, you telling me, a person of the Jesus Christos, of Jah, of God, of Elohim, of the true Jesus, true black Jesus Christ, the true Jesus, because in His image, His true image, He was a black man. All these other things they're false. Like when you get to the thing about the ruddy. What ruddy means? Ruddy is a dark grayish color. So if you get ruddy and brown, then what do you get? You get a grayish brown color. Which is, there's something deeper about that with the soil, with the first man and where man came from. There's a deep conclusion to that. There's a reason why His image, why He is black. It's like if you look at the dust today, or you look at a desert, and when in its drought stage, it gets a more, it turns white. But another thing is like, it's almost, it gets completely idiotic, because there's people out there who would actually call me racist. This is the funny thing. There's people out there who would actually call me racist. But the truth be told, it all sits upon people not being able to tell themselves their own truth. They can't even tell themselves the truth to save their own souls. This is what's funny and what's going on right now. Like I said, just because it's regular, people live wrong or they live immorally, they live regularly that way, doesn't mean that someone else has to be about other people living regularly in sin, or if somebody wants to live regularly immoral. It's just like if you want to teach your children something that in its root is completely evil, that I have to go along with it just to be a part of, to be a part of the show, or to be a part of the community, for example. But what if that whole community, right, that whole gathering, what if they're gathering only to send themselves to hell? You know what I'm saying? It's like if they are all coming together and it's a bunch of people, it's a whole lot of people, you thinking it can't be wrong, but they about to go and jump over a mountain into a fire. But by the time you get to the mountain and you know it's a fire, you won't even realize that you already jumped over. You know, I don't want to be that person. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't want to be that person who jumps over at the last end. But the whole point that we're really trying to make is that basically, you know, this is a cry for freedom. It's a cry for freedom. You know, we want our own constitution, we want our own country, and we want our own freedom. You understand? We really want our own business rights. You know, because that's what a lot of this comes down to, is business rights. You know, just like the brother Wallace E. Budge quotes, you know, every time when a black man does business, it's always seen as something bad in this world. So every time a black man does business or he gets into business, it's always seen as something bad. But then that's a response, really, to, there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there who are in the music industry, you know, they're getting certain deals. And the newest deal that they got right now was called the 360 deal. But on the opposite end of the 360 deal is the circular walk, or is the Awid, or the Adame. We'll get precisely what that is. But on the other side of the 360 deal is the circular walk, or the real universal walk, which is the walk of life, which is the age of life, which is that 360 degree, you know, which is Jah's walk, which is Yahweh's walk, Elohim's walk. So we as a people, when speaking about, you know, so-called black people, you know, when speaking about so-called black people, even though that there's different, people have different categories for what they might call themselves. Some people may call themselves certain type of black peoples, and they might be in certain type of religions. They may be Hebrew Israelites. Some of them may be Muslim, you know, Moorish. Others may be Rastafari, Beruku. But truth be told, if we're all about the same thing, our own constitution, well, then we need to gather together. We need to band together and come together, because there's plenty of brothers and sisters who've been speaking this truth for so long. Now all these things are starting to be revealed right before a lot of people's eyes. So a lot of people are just walking right into it. You know, they're walking right into it. And it's not to criticize, to be criticizing people. But honestly, really, we want our freedom. I mean, we already know about the Jesuit lies and the whole, you know, the whole Vatican game, you know, and the false spirituality, the whole, the false prophet. You understand? It's just like Nazareth of Galilee. You know, isn't that in Africa? Of course it's in Africa. You understand? But how do you get what we can't understand is that how do you get a Christ, right, from Europe who's basically pale skin, and then these become the saints, this becomes Christ. But I prefer if you just say that we have our own Christ, or our own type of Christ, because from the biblical perspective, the true Christ in his proper image, this would be the anti-him. This would be instead of him. So this would be the anti-Christ, right? Because it tells no truth. And another thing, it's biblically based Ethiopia in its rooted truth. So if you're going completely opposite of that, you know, not to Ethiopia, not to say that, yes, they got a lot of things out of Africa, religion, but then you got to understand that they corrupted it. They corrupted these religions, and then they brought them upon the people. Now the people are walking in this deluded mind state. But the whole point is that maybe we just have to worry about Rastafari, Beruku, the ones that want to be Rastafari. You know, and it makes me understand the older brother Wyndham Yadon when he was saying that, you know, go get your name changed. You know what I mean? Because you have to get constituted. It's like you can't say that I'm Rastafari, this and that, but then you still Babylon. You still got Babylon name. Or really, you're still an American, or you might be a Jamaican. You know what I mean? You might be a Brazilian. You know what I mean? You might belong to the government of Mexico. You know what I mean? You completely cut yourself short of your constitution. Completely cut yourself short of the constitution of the Lion of Judah, His Imperial Majesty, Quedamawe, Haile, Selassie, Beruku. But if you feel like that's not the truth, If you feel like that's not the truth, of course, you're welcome, obviously, to go your own way. You're obviously welcome to go your own way. It's just like looking at the whole the whole thing about the Mayan calendar and all that, the 2012. If anything, if you look at it, like ones were talking about the end of the world, like, oh, the world's gonna end and whose world's gonna end, you know, what's gonna happen and all this. But it seems as though Jaja didn't do any. Did Jaja do anything? No, there wasn't even an earthquake that day. You know what I mean, on the Gregorian calendar, you know, from their perception of the Mayan prophecies, or what they call the Mayan prophecies, there wasn't even an earthquake that day. But yet, but there were people who acted crazy. There were people who took crazy measures, who did crazy things. But the whole point is that we're patriots. Patriots, and we are the children, right? We're the children of Ethiopia. We have our own constitution. We have our own country. Therefore, right, applied in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Or what we're going to is in his Imperial Majesty speech on the Hague Treaty of 1907 that the United States is obliged to abide by. We have our Universal Declaration of Human Rights, right? Once you get properly informed and you understand what's going on, you understand how the false doctrine was pushed on I and I. You know what I mean? The false doctrine was pushed on us. You know, but at the same time, if you make somebody, right, conform, if you make them conform to your way, and they sign a contract unwittingly, right, unknowingly what they would do. It's not like the covenant that we signed with Jah, or the covenant when we gave Jah our word, you know, because our word was our signature, right? And Musainem asked, you know, the people, Jaja asked the people, do y'all hear me right now? Do you hear what I'm saying at the burning mount? Remember at the flaming mountain, all the people were scared. They were like, yeah, our ancestors said so. So that was the covenantal agreement at that point. But at the same time, we have the same people in America who signed the same covenantal agreements. They signed to the same type of covenantal agreements that Ethiopia, or the Ethiopians, or Israel, or Rastafari, you know, Beta Yisrael, that they are obliged to the same covenantal agreement, this same covenant. Even though it works differently for the Gentiles. But at the same time, they signed a constitution under agreement of this same contractual agreement. You understand? Because it's funny, because I was reading over His Imperial Majesty's autobiography, and it revealed that, you know, if you get a chance, you should go into Quedamawe, Haile, Selassie, Beruku, his autobiography. If you can't get a copy, you should try to get yourself a copy. But if you can't, you can go online and you can Google it and you can read it online. And it's very importantly that you read it, along with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because it goes over just a nationwide perspective. It's just like if you look at right now, I is working on and praying and working, and we can come together. If we can band this brotherhood together and get out of this individual state, you know what I mean? It's like one individual worried about himself, but his brothers and sisters, they're all out there around, going through different type of things right here just in America. You know what I mean? Not to mention all over the world, the Caribbeans, Africa, and other places that our people are going through things at. And then the righteous Gentiles, ones like, for example, like Gerald Macy, and even Charles Eisenberg to a degree. Even him, even in fully, if you look at what he wrote, even you know, some people we understand that they're in a type of bondage where they're so tied up in the bondage that it's a tight space for them. It's a tight space for them. You understand? I mean, even looking at these pictures now, I mean, I used to get mad. I don't even get mad anymore. Because it's funny, because it's like they're made to fool the fool. You know, it's like, well, this is made to fool the fool, so if they'll fall for it, why not? Because that's that's what the devil is. How can people be confused about what the devil is? It must mean that they're not paying attention. They don't know what God is. You know, I mean, you ever asked yourself that question? How can you be confused about what the devil is, or what is the devil's constitution, or what is the devil's government, or what is this whole call? What is the devil's world? How can you be confused about that? Well, you obviously can only be confused about that if you don't truly know who the true Elohim is, or you don't know who the true God is. You understand? And then you completely misunderstand his Imperial Majesty, Quedamawe, Haile, Selassie, Beruku. You know, but just from that perspective, you know, like I was saying before, from a business perspective, what we seek is our freedom and to get from under the clutches, you know, under the grip of another nation. You understand what I'm saying? Because it seems like, it's obvious. You know what I mean? It's like you either conform to their world and their way, or you're going to be treaded upon by them. So what you need to do is get strong in Jah, like it says in Psalms 68:4, extol his name Jah. You know, for people who are wondering, well, we never read Jah in the Bible, or I haven't seen that name Jah. Well, Jah's in Psalm 68:4. It's the only place in the King James version of the Bible that Jah is actually said, which is interesting. Go read Psalm 68:4. The name Jah is right there in plain English for you. J-A-H, capital letters, straight up. You know, but it should make you realize that this is reality. This is reality we're dealing with. A lot of people running around talking about the devil this and the devil that, but really, truthfully, in truth, you don't even know what the devil is. You know, you're still, you know, it's like somebody had mentioned to me the other day. They was like, what do you got against, you know, like the Santa Claus and all that, man? You know, let it go. I mean, I don't think you know how bad, I mean, I don't really think y'all know how terrible that is. No. You said let it go. I mean, I ain't coming at it. I never was coming at it. What it's done to me at this point, at this moment, it's blocked me into a tight space. What are you talking about? I'm trying to get away from it, to be honest with you. But it seems like it's being forced upon. It's everywhere I learn. It's everywhere I turn, everywhere I look. Is these hateful eyes. These hateful eyes and these hateful people who hate the truth. So then when somebody starts speaking the truth, they seem to have a problem with it, or they have a problem against it. Look, this ain't a comedy show. I'm not out here to make fun of sisters for wearing blonde wigs. I'm just saying that what makes you ashamed of being black? You know what I mean? What makes you ashamed of being fully who you are? You understand? I mean, as far as doing your hair, and hey, you're welcome to do that. I'm not going to make a big issue about someone doing their hair. All I'm saying is that I can't continue to live in a lie. If I know the truth, what kind of person would that make me? If I know better than to be living in a lie, why would I continue living in a lie when I know it's a lie? You know what I mean? Why would I not be truthful? I mean, that's a question I would ask all people. Why wouldn't you be truthful when you already know something is a lie? I mean, you still go along with it. It's just like you know, for example, certain holiday. Christmas is the most important holiday. It's probably for the, you know, and especially in the as far as it is the most important holiday, the most important holy day in certain ways. But what it represents is the birth of Christ. So if you take the birth of Christ, and basically what they do is they make you forget about it. I mean, you ain't gonna see the real Christ on you know, most CNN or anything like that. You're not gonna see the real Christ. You're not gonna see the real Christ. The only way you're gonna see him is through his people and rooted truth, because they're not gonna show it to you. So it's gonna be out there somewhere. It's gonna be on the underground. It's gonna be on Rastafari Sabbatical. It's gonna be on Ethiopian World Net. You know what I mean? It's gonna be in other places. It's gonna be in the Hebrew Israelite. You know, the Hebrew Israelite section. You know, some of their web pages. It's going to be in the Moorish, some of the black Moorish pages. They're going to tell some truth. You know what I mean? It's going to be on Professor Griff from Public Enemy's page, because he's told a whole lot of truth and exposed things well-known going on in the industry. But it seems as though that people still reject it. People still reject these truths, so they're still following in these ways. There's a brother. It's just like if you look at the new deals, like the contract deals as far as business with music Yeah, especially for the rappers, especially for like the rap artists or the hip hop artists. They got the 360 deal contract. The 360 deal contract mean they get a piece of everything, right? But then when you look on the flip side, you look at the 360-degree walk, the circular walk with Jah, and then you look at our covenant. But what about that contract? Does that mean that contract is void? No, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean it's void. Even if we don't know, you're better off ignorantly not knowing. Because once you're exposed to it, it becomes more critical for you. You know what I mean? It's almost like you'd be better off not even watching this video if you believe in that. You know, if you believe in their way, you believe in like what they call the American way. But truthfully, for Rastafari, this is speaking out for Rastafari and all the other brothers and sisters who got more rooted in truth, who know who they are, who understand the plot of, if you understand, if you look at this now, it's not like if you look at the plot of the enemy, we're already in the midst of it. We're stock market here. And we're talking about our rights. You know what I mean? The Yarmadium which they call a weed, for some reason they call it this foul name or this evil name like weed. You know what I mean? That is our right. We are agriculturists. We do agriculture. We grow crops. That's what we do. That is one of our means of business. That is an Ethiopian mean of business. That is the Ethiopian, that's part of the GDP. The gross domestic product, of Ethiopia. So being an Ethiopian, that is our job, to conduct business, right? So this is my question to all the so-called brothers and sisters out there. How is it, right? Can you, right, stand strong enough to conduct business, to form your own record label? Your own record label that's provided by your own constitution, right? And it goes to the well-being of your own constitution. Like, for example, we've seen, and it's not to discredit anybody. Some people got big hearts, think they're doing the right thing. There was a sister, the sister Rihanna, you know what I mean? Well, I don't want to say sister because she might not be about what I'm about. You understand? So I'll just say she just donated like $2.7 million somewhere, I think it was in the Virgin Islands or somewhere where she was from, right? When that could have properly went towards our constitution as a people of who we are. We could gather together. It's enough of these brothers who have so much money. If we band together and we do this correct, we can own our own thing, even if it means some of our lives on the line, because they don't want to let y'all go, because primarily the economic source is you, or really is the black woman, or Israel being looked at as a woman. You could just say it's all of us. So it's like we all in the same boat together. You understand? It's just like you've already had most of your rights taken away. So if you look at this whole this gun thing that came up, and then they about to go off what they call the fiscal cliff, as if people already been devastated by what the economy's been doing since like 2007, 2008. But that's not to mention the poor, those poor blacks, those poor black and brown people who they don't give a fuck about. And then other people can come over into this country and they can, they set up shop right in your neighborhood and get rich. Not to talk down on them or talk about them or anything like that, but it just goes to show that they have their business together. When it comes to business, we're all backwards. We go and work for our enemies. This is a straight up truth. That's why so many brothers sign like these record deals. Signing all these record deals. You signing record deals with people who own the Church of Satan. You rather go sign a record. You would like to sign a record deal with an individual like this? You know what I mean? Then try to hold out a little bit and we can get our own. We can get constituted and get it together, because the thing is that your stock market, would you like to be someone's slave, or would you like to be a sovereign free man and a free woman with your own land? It's really something to think about, and it takes us back. Let's go look at, because we don't want to get too sick looking at all this nonsense. Because if we look at this nonsense too long, we end up getting sick. So, because I don't like to look at bullshit for too long. And excuse R&R if you have any children Beruku. But what we want to do is we want to go into His Imperial Majesty speech, because it's something real important that His Imperial Majesty has said at one of the speeches about one being a patriot. You understand? I mean, and even I'm looking at Obama right now from looking at the current Torah portion. You know, from looking at the current Torah portion. If you give I and I just a second, let me grab the current Torah portion that we're currently in at the moment. And you know, just if we pay attention to Obama from this point, from the current Torah portion we in, and I want to give a shout out and a thanks to our older brother and teacher, Wyndham Yadon Beruku, blessed be he. You know, I learned a lot from that brother. In fact, I just want to point out the brothers who really saved I and I, who had the most. I learned a lot from a lot of brothers. There's so many. It's almost even hard to mention so many books like Dr. Chancellor Williams, Wallace E. Budge, Joseph Jochanan, Joseph Ben Jochanan. I pray forgive I and I Yedagurtha if I'm not pronouncing that quite correctly. You know, the brother Professor Griff. The brother Professor Griff is a very intelligent brother. He wrote the book about the covert war in hip hop. You understand, the covert war in hip hop, and that's a big thing going on right now, especially with the 360 deals that a lot of brothers and sisters are signing. The brother Raz Ayadonis Teferi, Wyndham Yadon of Lion of Judah Society, which I and I is part of. You know what I mean? Because I got the most out of that. That's where my roots came out of. You know, with Ethiopia, being able to learn and to understand what was going on. And the thing is, interestingly enough, that there was a lot of mistakes that I had already made. You know, there was a lot of mistakes that I had already made, and had it not been for these brothers, just some of these brothers, and just some of the brothers I mentioned to you, had it not been for them, who, you know, Jaja knows where I and I would be right now, and that's on a serious point. So, I mean, get informed, you know, do your duty, and you need to speak out about this stuff. We got brothers and sisters right now currently signing record deals right now. Currently signing 360 record deals. What we're trying to say is that I don't even want to talk down on them, because this is that, you know, I had to understand something. I had to push my feelings to the side when dealing with it from a truthful standpoint, is that it's business for the Gentiles. You know what I mean? It's business for the white man, straight up. You know what I mean? Black man stock market is business for the white man. But the thing is that if I sit up hooping and hollering for the black man, like, oh, this and that, and I turn around and these niggas, they basically look at me like I'm short, or they go against me themselves, and I'm speaking up for them, then who becomes the fool? The brother that's in them speaking up for you, his head gets put right there on the chopping block, but they give you the machete to chop my head off, and you just do a real good job. You know what I mean? You do a real good job at ignoring the truth. So, you know, I don't know if you're supposed to get a prize for that. You probably should from these folks, man, because they do a damn good job of getting basically the black population. I know, especially over here in America, they do a real good job of getting y'all to turn y'all's back on y'all's truth and y'all's root, y'all's country, and who y'all really are. They do a fabulous job at that. Or let's just say y'all help them with the rest of it. So, I mean, I can't fully blame, you know, the white folks, or to blame the white man. No, not really, man. We come to a point where, yeah, they do it to us, you know what I mean? They do it to us, but at the same time, we're the cause of our own burden. We turn around, and when you get good brothers like these brothers over here speaking about the truth, you turn around and you basically become a thorn in their side. You know how Jaja say, remember those people Jaja told us to get rid of? He said, I told you to get rid of them, they're going to be a thorn in your side. They're going to be a thorn in your side. And currently we're seeing the end time of that thorn in our side. But Beruku, blessed be he, in the name of his Imperial Majesty, Quedamawe, Haile, Selassie, Beruku, and the Yehoshua HaMoshiach, and the Quedamawe, Haile, Selassie, Beruku. I love you all, Rastafari. I would die for you, man. Straight up, if you represent Jaja in spirit and truth in the name of Jesus Christos and the Quedamawe Haile Selassie, Beruku, Igaziabi, Hir, El Reina Aya. But I'm running out of time, Rastafari, and Shalom.